Can Indians marry outside their caste? So you're telling me right now in 2023, in the modern era, the caste system still exists in India?
Hey bosses, it's Marie from
Okay.
Asian Boss.
How?
When you date someone, what's the most important thing you look for in a person? Maybe it's their character or their sense of humor. But
Okay.
what about their social status? You may know about India's caste system, which is an ancient social hierarchy that dates back 3,000 years. And while caste-based discrimination was outlawed in 1950, it still exists in many aspects of Indian society. For example, marrying outside of one's caste still remains a topic of debate. So how do Indians feel about intercaste marriage today? Our
Does
Asian
it
Boss
matter?
reporter hit the streets of Delhi to find out.
Today we are curious to find out that what do Indians think about intercaste marriages. So for our global viewers,
Okay.
could you please explain what Indian caste system is?
So you have Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras and Panchamas.
Okay.
Panchamas were also known as Dalits in today's language. And then each of these has a series of subgroups which are again in a hierarchical order.
See, traditionally, when the caste systems came out through our Vedas, they were based on professions. So, Brahmins were the teacher class, Kshatriyas were the warrior class. And now, what you see is an entirely man made system where
Okay.
if you are born in a so and so caste, that is what you have to follow for the rest of your life.
So what do you think? How big of a role does someone's caste play in Indian marriage or dating culture?
Although in 21st century the role of caste in marriage has been reduced, but I would not.
The thing is, isn't that kind? I'm sorry, it's like 1 minute. I'm already pausing the video. Doesn't that kind of suck though? That mean that you're only limited to marrying like a certain level of professionals in your own category? That kind of sucks, man. So the thing is, like, how doesn't modernization already remove that with the advent of like the internet and with the certain influence of Western culture? Like, because there are a lot of tribal and Filipino cultures, I'd say, that was removed thanks to the westernization. Like, isn't India getting westernized too at some levels, which technically like at least removes the caste system? What about the millennials or the younger generations? Do just like say yes and agree? Don't they rebel against the order of this? I thought love was a very powerful force that breaks through everything, but it couldn't break through the caste system. What is this? I don't understand. What is this? So it's like tradition. It's like
Not
okay,
say that it has been
explain.
reduced substantially. Today also there are many people who
Okay.
they inquire that what caste the groom or what caste the bride is before getting married or before getting into a relation.
Okay, this plays a major role in
Why?
terms of marriage, because I'll tell you, we are millennials and we are almost on that age of getting married. People are
Okay.
not giving a damn about the person and the relationship and how to build that.
Okay.
Rather just like you fall under the same caste, you fall under the same financial bracket.
Oh,
let's go
it's
for it.
money. It's
So the
because
thing
of
is, your
money.
caste is associated with your economic status.
Oh, I
It's
get
associated
it
with which
now.
languages
I
you
get it now.
It's associated with where you grew up, what kind of pop culture you were exposed to, what kind of references you understand, the circles that you move in, socially speaking. the
I get
school
it
you
now.
went to.
It's okay. It's basically like something that divides you definitively within its own social borders in India. So like for example, like it's like having like the same different tribes. For example, in the Philippines back in like 200 years ago, like you could have like certain tribes marry only within their tribes because they fear that there is something different about other tribes, or basically there's like a general miscommunication or misunderstanding towards them. But that's on the tribal thing. But on the caste system, it basically feels like it functions more as your level in life, such as your financial status. Like of course, like you could marry up and down, but generally marrying up and down is usually frowned upon, because you always usually level at your same level, at the same financial income. You usually do. Second is that is that like what kind of relatability you have with your partner, like what kind of cultural and traditional aspects can you relate towards each other. So I kind of get this now. It's basically it's like you think of having certain circles in the Indian population, and like those people just mingle within it. But the thing is, it's not forced physically, but it's more forced by culture. So I kind of get it now. Now, if you want to abolish the caste system, it's probably not going to change anything. Like you could abolish that. But the main issue is that this is like it's like an own barrier placed by their actual own people, because they probably don't want to move up and down the system. It's just content within the middle. That's what I would say, at least. Maybe. Do I have any Indians in chat? Like, can you guys educate me on this?
So yeah, it has a huge effect on who you date because it has a huge effect on who you're exposed to at all to begin with. So who you're friends with, who you work with. I think that a lot of people who don't.
What about foreigners then? What if a foreigner goes there?
Want to date within a particular caste, still end up dating within a particular caste, and it's not entirely a coincidence. It's systemic.
Why is it so important in Indian society to stay within the same caste? Could you explain the cultural background?
So only a few castes, only the ritually upper ones traditionally are landowners, for example.
It's all tied within like the wealth system.
And things like that. When you have intercaste marriage, there's more distribution of those resources, which a lot of people are against.
Yeah, that's true.
It also has to do with an idea of ritual purity, which again, some castes are considered to be more pure than others. And intercaste dating and marriages and contact is supposed to pollute
it's tied by religion?
Cause them to be impure.
Yeah, I could see
that's
that.
That's the belief. Yeah. So that's why it's important to a lot.
What does it remind me of pre-planned marriage? I think no, not really. It's far from pre-planned.
One of the first things you'd want to find out on a first date.
That should not be the criteria first. I mean, there could be some reasons like where you want to, respect your parents about it.
If you're an Indian and you're in that 20s to 30s where you're gonna get married anytime soon, probably more than asking whether you're like I like you or I like her or like I like this, you'll probably ask, are you from the same caste? Or like, I mean, you will be slippered if you go ask a girl, are you from the same caste? But end of the day, I think it becomes a valid question.
So what about like regular IT workers, regular white job workers? What caste are they in? I don't
understand why do they put that in that.
So can you just simply ask directly about someone's caste, or is that considered rude?
It is rude. It is very rude. But end of the day, it's an like an unavoidable necessity.
So it's like basically asking how much money do you have in your bank? Okay.
So that's what I feel.
Yeah, when my mom asked me, okay, who is this girl, and where, her probably second or third question will be what's her caste. But I personally would never care even 0.1% about what caste she belongs to.
I kind of understand it now. Okay, they're doing this because of cultural and traditional reinforcement. I get it. This system probably will not exist anymore. Like, give it 2 or 3 more generations from this generation, it's probably not going to exist anymore because they're more equalized in some sense. I get that. This is only happening now because it's a unique scenario for now. It's not going to be happening in the future. I get that. But here's the question. How do you put an ancient caste system on modern jobs? For example, if I was a software developer, where am I in the caste system? Or, for example, I am an entrepreneur. Where am I? Am I in the merchant category? What if I was a practitioner of science? I was I'm a doctor or a medicine. Where do I stay in the caste system? Or what about more vague jobs? Like, what if I own, let's say, I walk dogs essentially in the morning, and I have other, on the fly jobs like, delivering Grab food or something, or Postmates. Where am I in the caste system? Like, how does the caste system apply in like the newer, responsibilities now? What about like oil mining? Where's that in the caste system? Like, I feel like the caste system is just there for the older generations, and it's probably going to be dying out literally in a span of 2 or 3 generations from now on. That's what I would see, at least. Maybe I feel like lower class. Really? Do you know how much an IT developer, do you know how much a software developer pays? They get paid 6 digits, man. Software developers get the most money nowadays. Is it a matter of the profession, or does income pay into that role too? Like, for example, if let's say I am your traditional merchant, which is like, let's say, lower in the class, but I earn $1 billion a month, does that put me up? Or does it, because I'm still a merchant, it doesn't? What do you mean? Like, is it tied to, for example, like, what if I was a construction worker, but I am a contractor essentially, and I'm earning millions of dollars every month? Does that raise me up in the caste system? Or what about politicians then? What if I'm a poor politician from a rural town? Does that lower me in the caste system? Like, how does it work? No, money has no tie in this. So it's basically just profession. How does this work? It's weird. Like, maybe I understand if it was like the 1%, the 5%, the 10%, the general, the 80%, or like, below the poverty line. I get that. I get that system because it's based on finance. But caste system, how does this work if it's based on profession? it doesn't seem. This is why I feel like this probably is going to be 2 or 3 generations out, most likely.
Apparently, intercaste
Except only one
marriages
caste.
were legalized in India.
No,
in
software developers with
1954,
third caste, but they earn a lot of
then
money
now
though.
The number is only 5% that Indians have involved in intercaste marriage. So why do you think the number is so low till date?
So constitution allowed it, but society is still taking time to change. So
Oh, that's a good
I mean,
answer.
That's natural, but it will happen.
That's
so.
a good answer.
Parents' interference
That's a good answer.
and possessiveness is still there. I think as a youngster,
Money isn't
you
what
people
drives the
can,
caste system. Okay.
Feel that.
How do you know that
Still
software
in
developer
India,
is a high
the parents
class?
are very possessive
They're not
about
teachers.
Their, children. Maybe they are 21, 22, 25, but they feel they, as we are telling they should do. I think that is a... And again, the caste is always there because in India, it is deep-rooted.
Okay.
If I get married to another caste, then my family won't be allowed to go to their gatherings. They won't invite my family to
Okay.
their functions. So, like, especially in tier 2, tier 3
Dude, we
cities,
need
it's
to
very
we need to grab an
important, like,
Indian
to,
viewer and have them in
go
on
to
stream
the
to interview
gathering,
them.
to have a social
We're gonna
meet, to
interview
have a
them and
social
basically
influence.
just
But
ask
if
them about the
if their
caste
kids
system.
getting married to a different caste, then all those influence, all those respect just got bullied in a
Okay.
second.
So the first thing is that 70% of the population of India resides in rural belts.
I like his teeth. His teeth is so
30%
white.
population which resides in urban belts, a majority of them reside in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities.
Okay.
So caste is still a big thing in rural settlements as well as in tier 2, tier 3 or tier 4 cities for that matter.
Okay, makes
Those
sense.
who have been the urban elites, for them the caste has disappeared over the period of time due to the factors like globalization and proper education. But still, the education has not, the liberal education.
So
has
where
not
do
percolated
streamers
the
go?
roots of India. That's why caste
Okay.
system
Okay.
still
I have a stupid question. So where do streamers go? Where do streamers and YouTubers go? Are we entertainers or are we in the first class? Because we're also teachers. Like for example, I'm teaching us bullshitry. I'm teaching us stupid shit like always, constantly, right? So am I in the first? Am I in the highest class too? I'm in the highest caste too. Like I don't know how the system works. Like TLDR, like I think the caste system was great before when there was no way to financially, not really financially, but to have legal, documentation of certain records. When everything was just made by script or via hand, via memory, then I think that kind of makes sense. But nowadays, with the advent of technology and with how everything is, especially with the influence of westernization on like Eastern countries like India, I think this is gonna be coming out because as he said, this is only happening in rural areas and not in urban areas anymore. So at the same time, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool though. It's fascinating for me to learn this because I thought that the caste system was literally removed, like probably when like 100 years ago maybe. It's fascinating to me that people still have this, and the worst part is that these people are still getting still getting pressured to still abide by the tradition. And if you guys know, in certain Asian traditions too, this arranged marriage is a thing, like in Korea, Japan, and China, arranged marriage is a thing too that now people are straying away from. You know what I mean? So like it's one of those things that are getting slowly removed through time, and the boomers are constantly just pushing it because they still want it the same because they were experienced the same, essentially. Yeah. Ryo, you would be a Vaishya, you would be of low status. Oh shit, man. I thought I would be a teacher. But you know what? That's fine. I kind of do get it though. Would you guys like to be in a caste system though? Because the thing is, if you're in a caste system, that means it's like there is an inherent RNG towards being born. You know what I mean? It's like gacha. You pull the first, you pull the best classes, and then you pull the best caste, then you win. You get born in a bad caste, then you suck. Essentially, it's like RNG.
What are
Would you guys want to be in it? It's like a gamble.
Face when they choose to marry someone from a different caste in India.
Would you like to live in a system? Hell yeah, I would love
challenge
to.
is social exclusion.
I would
People
love
will
to
see
because
them
I'm a
as they
gacha
have
addict.
committed some
Hell
crime
yeah.
and all.
Would you be personally be open to dating or marrying someone from a different caste?
Yeah, quite okay. Like if I'm comfortable with someone,
Yeah, definitely. I would gamble. I would
quality
gamble.
time, then the
You're born
caste,
lucky.
the other factors come secondly to me.
What do you mean
But
I'm
if
lucky?
comfortable, then it
I
doesn't matter to
lost
me, like, which
I
caste
lost
belongs
my
to.
gacha RNG
How do you think your
because
parents
I'm born
would
in the
react to it
Philippines.
if you marry someone outside your caste?
I will pass the question.
Okay.
The caste is not important, right? If two people have been staying together, they have been knowing each other better, and then it's better to actually get down to the families. The families can meet each other, and then let the family decide upon it, or the parents decide upon it, that the family will be better for the guys or not.
So like you are totally open for intercaste marriage.
Yeah, if you talk about, I've been open with that.
Definitely, I'll be very open to marrying to a different caste.
How do you think? How would your parents react to if they come to know that you want to marry someone outside your caste?
I think first they will be very angry, but I am their son, so later they will accept.
You know someone who has married
Basically they have no choice. Okay. Pretty sure in this RNG. Hey. If you were born in America or in Europe, you basically won the lottery. If you were born in a Western civilization, at least first world in nature, you basically won the lottery, okay? But then again, you had to get another RNG role, which basically determines your social economic status through your family, okay? What if you were born in America, but you were born into a poor drunk redneck? It's still a GG. So if you were born, let's say you were born in America, but then you were born in a wealthy family, not really wealthy, but a standard family, then you got lucky. Okay, you got lucky essentially. So like, in my opinion, as long as you're born in a first world country, I think you're fine. Because the opportunities are always there.
Are the orders.
Hey, no.
The priests,
okay.
and
Not a lot of my friends are married yet.
And bankers.
Just 4 or 5 and
farmers,
none
craftsmen,
of them.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you,
I have a lot
Parrot.
of friends all around me who are
Like,
I mean,
how did the people react to that?
nothing. Nobody cares because I am a very global person. I have lived in the cities abroad, and that is something nobody even talk about it.
I have done intercaste marriage. I am Buddhist by religion, and my wife is Hindu.
How did your parents react to it when you told them like you wanted to do intercaste marriage?
They were quite supportive.
Oh.
So that's where we are after 20 years.
I have an intercaste marriage. I see that it took my family to adjust. For Indians, we know that society is the most important. So when
that
we
is
say
true,
that,
yeah.
okay, when you'll have an intercaste marriage, I think, log kya kahenge? What will people say? So I think that was the biggest challenge I faced. But then when my family thought about my happiness, they understood, how I want my partner to be. I think they adjusted to the fact. And when they saw that even after marriage I'm happy, they were quite relaxed.
My parents, 50 years back, they got married. I mean, they were intercaste. My mom was a marriage superior Brahmin. My father was Srivastav, and I'm proud that at that time they did so. So my upbringing is like that.
Oh, it's basically a dead practice essentially.
They are already married, and I never asked till date that the girl is of which caste. Doesn't make any difference. We all are human beings.
So did your parents face any
I feel like this does make a difference if you're in the upper echelons of society. If you're like a politician, it kind of does matter.
This is a
but
very
like
good
if you're like
question.
that 1%,
last
maybe
40
it
years and
matters.
50 years when my parents got married, you can understand. When today in our country honor killing is there, so you can understand 50 years back when my father and mother, my mother was superior Brahmin, and my grandfather, he was just searching for my father with a gun. This was the condition, and it was very difficult for her to adjust.
Okay.
Because in the family, the relatives, they always keep judging you.
That's kind of the thing. It's hard to say that you shouldn't care, but like family is always there constantly, and you always want family support.
We heard that honor killings for intercaste marriages are regularly reported in India. What's one of the most recent cases you have heard about?
I can't recall any specific recent case that I've heard about, but you do hear about honor killings fairly often. I think I hear about one at least every month or so.
I think we keep on hearing these cases on a daily basis, but I think that's more on the countryside, maybe where the acceptability is very, very low.
The numbers are not that much if you talk about. There are so many families and there are so many of the relationships which have been there where people actually get down together.
What's
right?
honor
and
killings?
Stay together also.
Hard to
numbers are
explain, but
very
you're
less,
basically
because whatever you see
murdering
on
someone
media,
to
right?
retain your family's
getting
honor or your personal honor.
How does local media end up portraying intercaste marriages? Or
Media messes up everything. Media is the only problem. they just blow up random things. If they see any killing, they make it honor killing. So end of the day, I think media is the whole bigger problem. Like,
goddamn, that's okay.
Like,
that's a based statement.
You're just following what media.
That's a based statement,
Local
man.
Media is very aggressive about this topic. They want the India to be puritanized. So they don't have any positive attitude towards this issue.
The cinema and the movies, they make a great impact actually to people who are not aware. I think slowly and gradually these cinemas are bringing these topics now to the audiences, that there should be acceptability of all these scenarios. And there are a lot of movies like that, right? Like there's a lot of movies about talking about different cultures, about different intercaste. So, and I think the audience have well accepted that. So when they can accept the movies, why not in real life? So I think people are changing, the mindset is changing.
Do you think intercaste marriages will ever be normalized in India, or is it too deeply ingrained into the Indian culture?
Okay.
I think it will take 50 more years.
Never ever. Because we have so much of diversity in our culture, in our religion, in our caste. If you go to different states, then every state have their own culture, every diversity. So it's not going to be easy to overcome those diversity in their cultures and all. So that's what it's never going to happen.
Definitely, with time, people will be open
It's probably not going to end as long as it's not really globalized.
India,
I would say
will have its own. Will take time, but then definitely they'll adjust to this.
It will, for sure. It will happen in future. People are finally coming out of the mindset of till now it is always about surviving. That that first we need to survive, we need to make money, because too much population, too less resources. But as economy is growing, money is flowing into the country, people are getting richer, and information to access is coming better. So now
I love this response. This guy is smart, dude.
Right. The generation is also evolving. Generation is already smarter. Every generation is smarter than the previous one, more open. All of these factors are contributing to finally.
I love you too, brightest. Bitch. Okay. I mean, like, TLDR for the entire video, for me to summarize this entire thing, is that I feel like the only constant limiter to this thing is basically the globalization of India. With time passes and how frequent, internet becomes like a normal part of everyday culture, and how basically the internet is functioning as a hive mind for the entire human race, it's just a matter of globalization. It's just a matter of like maybe give it 2 or 3 generations and make India more part or integral to the world. I think it's gonna remove the caste system. Maybe it's not gonna completely remove it, because I feel like maybe those who are in the very far secluded rural areas would probably keep them, and most likely the ones in the very top 2, like the top 1%, like basically the politicians, the billionaires or whatever, millionaires, sorry. They will probably still have that system, is because that's the way how they gatekeep people from getting to that 1% status. So like, I feel like for the general population, it's not gonna be a thing, but it's still going to be a thing for the for the very high and the very far flung. That's what I would say, at least. That's interesting. If you have any Indians watching this on reaction, do let me know. Drop it in the comments what you think on the caste system. I want to see more of this, because it's the same thing as we're experiencing now here in Asia, where like arranged marriages are frowned upon nowadays, but that's how it was usually before. Like, arranged marriages was the norm. Now, the only people who only does arranged marriages are those who are in the 1%, essentially, the rich people. So, I would love to know your opinion on this. Drop it in the comments of this video. Good job. I'll see you guys in the next video, okay?